Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our reading of the Sahih International Translation of the Qur'an. I've already read this, but I wanted to have it on the channel as well. So reading it for another time here for the channel. And we are in Surah 11, which is Surah Hud, picking up on ayat number 18, okay? So, let's begin. Bismillah. And who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about Allah? Those will be presented before their Lord, and the witnesses will say, "These are the ones who lied against their Lord." Unquestionably, the curse of Allah is upon the wrongdoers. Who averted people from the way of Allah and sought to make it seem deviant, while they, concerning the hereafter, were disbelievers. Those who are not causing failure to Allah on earth, nor did they have besides Allah any protectors. For them the punishment will be multiplied. They were not able to hear, nor did they see. In case you're wondering why there's a glow, it's gray day, so I have the book light on. And the birds are always really happy when it's rainy, so they're like chitter-chattering. Those are the ones who will have lost them in what they used to invent. Assuredly, it is they in the hereafter who will be the greatest losers. Indeed, they who have believed and done righteous deeds and humbled themselves to their Lord, those are the companions of paradise. They will abide eternally therein. The example of the two parties is like the blind and deaf, and the seeing and hearing. Are they equal? In comparison, then will you not remember? And we had certainly sent Noah to his people, saying, "Indeed, I am to you a clear warner, that you will not worship except Allah. Indeed, I fear for you the punishment of a painful day." So the eminent among those who disbelieve from this people said, "We do not see you but as a man like ourselves, and we do not see you followed except by those who are the lowest of us, and at first suggestion. And we do not see in you over us any merit, rather than we think you are liars." He said, "O my people, have you considered if I should be upon clear evidence from my Lord while he has given me mercy from himself, but it has been made unapparent to you? Should we force it upon you while you are averse to it? And, O my people, I ask not of you for it any wealth. My reward is not but from Allah, and I am not one to drive away those who have believed. Indeed, they will meet their Lord, but I see that you are a people behaving ignorantly. And O my people, who would protect me from Allah if I drove them away, then will you not be reminded? And I do not tell you that I have the depositories containing the provision of Allah, or that I know the unseen. Nor do I tell you that I am an angel. Nor do I say of those upon whom your eyes look down, that Allah will never grant them any good. Allah is most knowing of what is within their souls. Indeed, I would then be amongst the wrongdoers, i.e. the unjust." They said, "O Noah, you have disputed, i.e. opposed us, and been frequent in disputes of us. So bring us what you threaten us, if you should be truthful." He said, "Allah will only bring it to you if He wills, and you will not cause Him failure. And my advice will not benefit you, although I wish to advise you, if Allah should intend to put you into error. He is your Lord, and to Him you will be returned." Or do they say about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he invented it? Say, "If I have invented it, then upon me is the consequence of my crime, but I am innocent of what crimes you commit. And it was revealed to Noah that no one will believe from your people, except those who have already believed. So do not be distressed by what they have been doing, and construct the ship under our observation and our inspiration. And do not address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are to be drowned. And some people might think, at first that drowning is like something really terrible. But when you think about it, it's almost like a way of cleansing. Really, truly it is, actually. Because it's just washing away all the garbage. And if you think about how evil and wicked those people must have been, it must have been completely necessary. Because we see some of the evil that we have today, and I think you've seen it too. There's like a Jesus meme, sadly, but he's smoking a cigarette, astaghfirullah, but he's like, flooded again. You see Christians actually post this meme a lot, and so usually that meme is underneath a video or a post where it's just purely degenerate, and you can see the context. And he constructed the ship, and whenever an assembly of eminent of his people passed by him, they ridiculed him. He said, if you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you, just as you will ridicule. So, if Noah was mocked, we have to make sure ourselves that we have some thick skin like that, because the disbelievers will mock us, especially Muslim women who cover. And you are going to know who will get a punishment that will disgrace him on earth, and upon whom will descend an enduring punishment in the hereafter. So it was until when our command came, and the oven overflowed, we said, load upon it, i.e. the ship of each creature, 2 mates of your family, except those about whom the word, i.e. decree, has proceeded, and include whoever has believed, but none had believed with him except a few. And this point here of except a few, you can notice how you may feel alone. People think they have a lot of friends because they have a lot of followers, but when you examine how they actually don't have real friends, people who are down to ride, you can't really envy them. I remember there was a red pill male YouTuber who mocked me because I said I have like five friends. People confuse acquaintances, schoolmates, workmates, like co-workers, with friends. The word friend has been trivialized so much so that the label is given out freely, when in reality a true friend is someone who has your back, doesn't gossip behind you. If you're about to be homeless, they would help you. If you had a medical issue, they visit you in the hospital. They're kind to you without expecting something automatically in return. You have a deep affection for them and their well-being and their family. You would never try to steal their spouse, something like that. You would never harm them in any way, So, if Noah had a few people to follow him and he came with Tawheed, he came with the truth, then if you are more of a loner or you just don't really vibe with the people you're around in your community, don't feel bad, Better to have 2 good friends than a horde of fakeness. And Noah said, embark therein in the name of Allah is its course and its anchorage. Indeed, my Lord is forgiving and merciful. And it sailed with them through waves like mountains. And Noah called to his son, who was apart from them, O my son, come aboard with us, and be not with the disbelievers. But he said, I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water. Noah said, there is no protector today from the decree of Allah, except for whom he gives mercy. And the waves came between them, and he was among the drowned. So this one is like really touching, because people say oh, if you're just good, your kids will turn out good. Noah was a prophet Okay? Peace be upon him. Yet his son was amongst those who drowned. So when you want to conceive, ask Allah to give you a blessed child. And if someone's kid is bad, sometimes it most assuredly is the parents' fault. But sometimes that's just a decree of Allah that one bad apple will be in the bunch. And there's nothing you can do about it, because the qadr, the decree, the destiny of that human being is with the mighty and sublime. So be mindful, because I'm sure many of us have met people in our lives who were good people, and then one of their kids was just bad. You're like, how is that even possible? They got such a good parent, and they're just like, their kid's just a rotten apple. It's like terrible. And how difficult that must have been for Noah. You know? And it was said, O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain. And the water subsided, and the matter was accomplished. And it, i.e. the ship, came to rest on the mountain of Judea, and it was said, away with the wrongdoing people. And Noah called to his Lord and said, My Lord, indeed my son is of my family, and indeed your promise is true, and you are the most just of judges. He said, Oh no, indeed he is not of your family. Indeed he is of those who was other than righteous. So ask me not for that about which you have no knowledge. Indeed, I advise you, lest you be among the ignorant. So, he still tried to plead for his son. You can see that affection parents have for their children. But Allah is all-knowing and knows what we don't know, and knows what's within the chest, right? So, we really don't have full knowledge of someone's entire character. So that verse 46, ayat 46, hits home when you really analyze it. Noah said, My Lord, I seek refuge in you from asking that of which I have no knowledge. And unless you forgive me and have mercy upon me, I will be among the losers. So even Noah, who's more prized or righteous, valued than us, asks for forgiveness. Has the humility to say, I have no knowledge. So we may learn our specialties, whether it's in our career. You got a PhD here, a bachelor's there. You mastered this art, that skill. Don't let it go to your head, because there's always a blind spot. One may know about Aqidah, one may know about fiqh, one may know about Tawheed, one may be an expert in some other area of Islam. But we all have to recognize what we do know and be humble enough to admit when we don't know something. Because sometimes, if you really look at it, everyone's always trying to be the special boy, special girl, the prized valedictorian that's an insufferable know-it-all. But the humbleness to just say outright, I don't know. I don't have knowledge on that. It takes a lot of humility, because there are some people who, they want to be that one who has all the answers. They want to be seen as like an oracle. So, look how Noah's humbleness here and his humility to say, I have no knowledge. It was said, O Noah, disembark in security from us, and blessings upon you and upon nations descending from those with you. But other nations of them we will grant enjoyment. Then there will touch them from us a painful punishment. See, what I like about this is that the nations, they're going to have some prosperities, but there's going to be a touch. Imagine like, because, okay, you have a pond. A simple touch, you see the ripple wave. Think about that. And the mightiness of Allah. Boom, touch, and things gonna happen. Some people always think of a touch like this. Deep, deep. Like, don't touch me. Oh, it was just a tap. But the strength of Allah is unlike something we've noticed. And that also, a touch, that also hints at like something like a pinch, like the size. Think about how if you were walking, a thorn in your heel, it's a tiny little thorn, but it's causing you immense discomfort because you can't rest all your weight on that foot. If you've ever had, like, let's say for example, a lot of men have hemorrhoids. They suffer with hemorrhoids, and so their bum, sometimes they can't sit, or going to the bathroom is really painful, and a simple itch and that pulsation of pain in that area, it's not like a giant flesh wound, it's not like a shark bit your thigh off, but it's something small, but it has a persistent discomfort, right? And what I think about when it says touch is that this nation can be very vast, but there can be a touch of something that causes ailments that ripple out and spread. Pestilence, drought, it doesn't always have to be a meteor coming from the sky and wiping things out. America has prosperity, but America has less and less people being married with children and high amounts of divorce and single motherhood. Last time I saw the data was 13 million single moms. And in the black community in America has 70% last time single rates of mothers. But if you compare black Muslims and those other nations across the world, they have a higher marriage rate. And abortion in America is quite high, and the amount of women on SSRIs and who are afraid to have children, you see how there's this touch of this and touch of that. But when you look at the ripple effects and how it's a punishment for the nation, you're like, oh, so some people can take that as insignificant just because the word is touch. But if you have, irritable bowel syndrome, you get a sharp touch of cramp pains in your abdomen, and you're like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad. And it's a touch, right? It feels like someone has put a dagger in you. It's not like you have an open skull or your arm is missing, but it's enough to like press upon you to where you feel the agony, to where you feel the effects, right? So, something to think about. I really think it's quite fascinating when you dig into the words here. It's fantastic. That is from the news of the unseen which we reveal to you, O Muhammad. You knew it not, neither you nor your people before this. So be patient. Indeed, the best outcome is for the righteous. Now, look at that. Don't be nihilistic. The best outcome is for the righteous. You keep trying to be good, you see people, like, don't be impulsive and brash and rash and give up and become cynical and nihilistic. You may be like, look, I'm obeying the rules, I'm not drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm not fornicating, smoking weed, you know what I mean? Smoking crack, smoking meth. Smoking is a all-encompassing term now, an umbrella term. And you're like, dang, man, look at all these people scamming, gambling, living a high life. What's for me? In your life, you may be struggling. You may have health problems. You may be in debt. You have a loved one who might be struggling with cancer. But don't become nihilistic and cynical and let your heart turn invertedly rotten. Patience is something that Islam has taught us, and people like to say Islam is a religion of peace. I would say Islam is a religion of patience, because how often we are told to be patient, you're like, oh, that's not easy to do. It is so not easy to control your impulses, because some of us are more reptilian than others, where we are snappy, like an alligator. Just, there's a twitch and we snap. You snap first, think later. And this can get us into some serious trouble. So, Don't become nihilistic and lose hope. And to Ad we sent their brotherhood. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. You are not but inventors of falsehood. O my people, I do not ask you for it, i.e. my advice only reward. i.e. my advice any reward. My reward is only from the one who created me. Then will you not reason? And, O my people, ask forgiveness of your Lord, and then repent to Him. He will send rain from the sky upon you in showers, and increase you in strength. Add it to your strength, and do not turn away, being criminals. They said, O Hud, you have not brought us clear evidence, and we are not ones to leave our gods on your say-so, nor are we believers in you. We only say that some of our gods have possessed you with evil, i.e. insanity. He said, Indeed, I call Allah to witness, and witness yourselves, that I am free from whatever you associate with Allah other than Him, so plot against me altogether, then do not give me respite. Now, you may overlook this part, right? But think about it. Plot against me altogether. When someone's plotting against you, it's conspiratorial. It's hard when you have one nemesis, let alone a group of people who want your downfall. Okay? Because imagine you got one coworker who's your enemy at work, you can think it's manageable. But imagine the odds are not in your favor, you're going to start worrying about your job, ain't you? You're going to be like, dang man, I kind of got I'm burning bridges, I ain't got many alliances now. You're going to start to have anxiety. So when someone is so confident in Allah and in his religion, so solid in his faith, in his iman, that he tells them, plot against me altogether. Not, hey you plot against me. No, altogether. And if you think about, do not give me respite. Respite is when you let up on someone, you're giving them a moment to catch their breath, to repossess themselves, to compose themselves, right? But you see a pack of those wild dogs in Africa, the spotted looking ones, they're chasing a gazelle, antelope, whatever. They're pursuing that critter with no respite usually. When there is respite is when the animal one of them has tired. When the antelope slips up and they're being pursued, they are eaten. A contest of wills. One has to let up. When you see two boxers and they're punching each other, and then you see one kind of just like, oh, stop, and they just give up, or they do that hugging thing, like they just kind of catch their breath, that person's giving them respite by like punching them in a different area. You're like, there's a bit of mercy there. There's a bit of letting you catch up, letting you regain yourself. So when he says, don't give me respite, he's saying, don't let up. Come at me. And that's intense, because imagine you're driving your race car or just a very fast car and you're trying to get away from somebody and they're just on your tail. They're telling you the whole way. And like, they ain't letting up, man. I'm bobbing and weaving through traffic, turning here, turning there. They don't give you a respite. Think about that. What is that game, Grand Theft Auto? You're trying to outrun the cops, and you turn here, you turn there, and then you see kind of the cops slow down and look, and then they pass you. They kind of gave you a respite by slowing down and stopping, even though you could be tailing it out of there, hightailing it out of there. But if they're pursuing you in a high energy manner, you're not gonna have respite. So you could see his firmness there quite clearly. Pardon me, I still have problem with my sinuses for 2 weeks. Indeed, I have relied upon Allah, my Lord, and your Lord. There is no creature but that He holds its forelock, i.e. controls it. Indeed, my Lord is on a path that is straight. But if they turn away, say, I have already conveyed that with which I was sent to you. My Lord will give succession to a people other than you, and you will not harm him at all. Indeed, my Lord is over all things guardian, over all things guardian. And when our command came, we saved Hud, and those who believed with him, by mercy from us, and we saved them from a harsh punishment. And that was Ad, who rejected the signs of their Lord, and disobeyed his messengers, and followed the order of every obstinate tyrant. They were therefore followed in this world with a curse, and as well on the day of resurrection. Unquestionably, Ad denied their Lord. Then away with Ad, the people of Hud. And to Thamud we sent their brother Saleh. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. He has produced you from the earth and settled you in it. So ask forgiveness of Him, and repent to Him. Indeed, my Lord is near and responsive. Near and responsive. They said, O Saleh, you were among us a man of promise before this. Do you forbid us to worship what our fathers worshipped? And indeed we are about that to which you invite us, in disquieting doubt. Now something interesting here. Do you forbid us to worship what our fathers worship? Forefathers, ancestors, elder worshipping cults. You've seen this in the past histories where what your forefathers did, you do that, right? Now, the founding fathers of America, people have a sort of cult-like following to them. Not as much anymore. But it was like, okay, we can't change some things in America because the founding fathers have this. So if you come with something new, we're not going to go for it. And it's fascinating when you see how many people still have this argument of what our forefathers worshipped, what they held on to, what they decreed as the right way, Not to confuse that with keeping the Sunnah, right? Because we have the righteous companions, the righteous predecessors. But when you look at it in other areas of life, you begin to see like, their dogma, their rights, R-I-T-E-S rights, not R-I-G-H-T-S. Their rights, their methodologies, what they were upon, should change to what is better. And Islam is what is better. And so, just because something's been done that way for a long time doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. Right? He said, O my people, have you considered, if I should be upon clear evidence from my Lord, and He has given me mercy from Himself, who would protect me from Allah if I disobeyed Him? So you would not increase me except in loss. And O my people, this is the she-camel of Allah. She is to you a sign. So let her feed upon Allah's earth, and do not touch her with harm, or you will be taken by an impending punishment. But they hamstrung her, so He said, enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days. That is a promise not to be denied, i.e. unfailing. Now, you may be thinking, oh, what's so special about a camel? But if you see how some people, even when it comes to animals, they just don't have respect for that creature, for what you've said to do. They just don't obey. That is a promise not to be denied, i.e. unfailing. So, when our command came, we saved Saleh and those who believe with him by mercy from us, and saved them from the disgrace of that day. Indeed, it is your Lord who is the powerful, the exalted in might. And the shriek seized those who had wronged, and they became within their homes corpses fallen prone, like a piercing cry or a blast from the sky, as if they had never prospered therein. Unquestionably, Thamud denied their Lord, then away with Thamud. Remember before, and away with the wrongdoing people, away with Thamud. And notice here, as if they had never prospered therein. We get this way like, oh, look at New York City, yeah. Look at, like, we build these these flourishing and thralling societies, and we think this is going to be permanent forever. Yay, we're unbeatable, no one can penetrate our community. But not really recognizing, because of their haughtiness, their arrogance, how easily Allah can just make it all go to crumbling. And people a lot of atheists think, everything's going to be permanent. Some people, especially a lot of gold-digging women who shame men who aren't rich, they think that their luxurious life is always permanent. That they'll always be in prosperity. They have forgotten what poverty is like, and yet the earth is filled with empires who are gone. All their nobles' names erased. It's like as if they never existed. And if there was no written record, we would not even know that they were around. Right? So it's like they never even prospered. If we didn't have a written record, we would not even know, and the ruins would be overtaken by bugs and trees and plants over again, right? And when you look at it, you're like, they never even prospered, right? Just bodies dropped, hitting the floor. And certainly did our messengers, i.e. angels, come to Abraham with good tidings. They said peace. He said peace, and did not delay in bringing them a roasted calf. Now, the interesting thing about a roasted calf, if you ever had veal, it's very tender. And when they're still suckling, they have a different taste. Now, we don't eat pork, but there's a specialty in Spain and in many steakhouses of suckling piglets. So a calf if you harvest a calf, remember, you're also harvesting the potential for that critter to get chunky. Because how much meat you can harvest from, let's say, like an Angus cow, when it's fully grown and been fattened up, that's a lot of pounds of meat. So when you take a calf, not only is the meat super tender and soft, but you harvest the potential there, right? Because it's a lot of work for not only to get a cow pregnant, because today the farms use artificial insemination. They extract the sperm from the male bull via a machine, and sometimes the machine has different methodologies. And then the cattle rancher, the cattleman, farmhands, whoever's in charge of that, he goes around and then uses equipment to impregnate the female. Also, there is people who they already have collections of bull sperm, and then they are called by the farmers to come to the farm and handle all the heifers. So because it's so complicated sometimes for a bull, because of their sizes, they may be lazy, they don't want to breed, right? Or the female cow doesn't let them. Today we have a consistent factorized method of consistent beef production. But years ago, it was harder to do that. And to keep the cow healthy while pregnant, and for her to deliver that cow, the babe, and then to make sure it survives. All weathers. It's not an easy job. Okay? It's not an easy job to breed cattle and to keep the calves alive. It's a very disappointing, because a cow, I believe, she's pregnant for 9 months like a human. So think about that. It's very hard to build up your herd, keep them healthy, plenty of water. It's not an easy task. I mean, those buggas, they eat quite a lot, drink a lot of water, and natural predators. Also, people trying to steal your cattle. That's a hard thing too. And there are some eagles who will snatch a baby lamb, but I haven't seen ones where they snatch a baby cow. But there's lots of, canine descended predators who will take it, or mountain lions, bobcats, depending upon where you are, what country you live in. So it's not easy to do that, to keep them alive. So when you see Abraham take a calf, there's a mad respect for that. It's a very honorable thing to do. So don't overlook that. The dairy industry now has excessive babes because they have consistent access to bull sperm, and because of the dairy demand, the female cows are consistently fertilized, so they have a consistent supply of veal meat. But back in the day, that wasn't the case. So I just wanted to, when you really dig into like all this, you're like, wow, someone roasted a calf for you. That's a big honor. That's my point. But when he saw their hands not reaching for it, he distrusted them, and felt from them apprehension. They said, "Fear not, we have been sent to the people of Lot." And his wife was standing, and she smiled. Then we gave her good tidings of Isaac, and after Isaac, Jacob. She said, "Woe to me, shall I give birth while I am an old woman? And this my husband is an old man? Indeed, this is an amazing thing." They said, "Are you amazed at the decree of Allah? May the mercy of Allah and his blessings be upon you, people of the house. Indeed, he is praiseworthy and honorable." Now, we know the older you give birth, the higher rates of disability for the child, and then more difficult it is to conceive. So this is something that those who value fertility will really appreciate it. Fascinating thing, in one of my husband's jobs, the boss's wife, she's 45, she's pregnant with triplets, and they had been trying for children for a long time. She has children from a previous marriage, but she married the boss, right? She's the wife of the boss, and she always wanted to give him children, but they couldn't conceive. And now she's 45 and pregnant with triplets. And think about that. They had been trying. They flew to Mexico to get fertility treatments. Nothing was working. And then Allah decreed, here's some babies. So think about that. One pregnancy, you got 3 little ones, Make dua that those little 3 children become Muslim. It's amazing, she's Mexican and the boss is from India. So it's touching when you see some people who have tried for so long. But again, to the feminists, they're being passed around in their 20s. I saw a video where a woman said she had 5 abortions. My mom's had 6 abortions and a couple of miscarriages, and then 4 of us made it through. So some women, because of their drug habits, because they see children as parasites, they don't see a baby as a valuable soul, they abort. So they don't have as much appreciation for fertility. But for women who value fertility and make better life choices, to be announced that you're going to be able to have a child even if you're old is a blessed thing. So you see her heart here. She values fertility, values pregnancy, loves her husband, right? Think about that. It's hard today because when you read this ayat, 200 years ago, women would be like, yay, pregnancy. Today, women are like, I need an IUD. I need to be sterilized. I need to have my tubes tied. Like, women, so that they can sleep around and get passed around to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, they want to abort. They don't actually care about fertility. So when a verse like this comes about, it hits different if you actually value fertility. And when the fright had left Abraham, and the good tidings had reached him, he began to argue, i.e. plead with us, concerning the people of Lot. Indeed, Abraham was forbearing, grieving, and frequently returning to Allah. So, forbearing, okay? Grieving. opened up his heart, always turning to Allah, upon Tawheed. He wasn't committing shirk. He wasn't going to the witch doctor and like, give me a chicken's head and, tell me a special tree to go to. Doing bizarre things. He didn't go and read the stars and look for numerology and all this bizarre stuff. No. His heart was fixed upon the one who made him. Okay? It's very important. Very important. We'll pause there. Okay? I hope you enjoyed. It's a very relaxing reading. And when it's raining, it's the perfect weather to read the soothing Qur'an. I really enjoy it. May Allah guide us and protect us all, help us to be firm upon our faith. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and join the blog, which is www.subscribestar.com/Milahan. Hope to see you there.